Person of interest detained in the shooting that killed 2 people and wounded 9 others at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island on Saturday has been detained, police have said. Colonel Oscar Paris, the Providence Police Force's chief, confirmed at a news conference early Sunday that the person of interest was in their 30s. Paris did not provide many other details about the person, including whether that person was connected to Brown. The person of interest was taken into custody about 17 miles from Providence at a hotel in Coventry, according to reports. According to a CNN photojournalist who was staying at the hotel, guests were woken up shortly before 4 a.m. to loud banging from police who said, "Open up." Guests also heard police saying, "We have a warrant for your apartment," and that they were going to take the person of interest back to the cruiser. Law enforcement often uses the term person of interest to refer to someone whom they consider important to a criminal investigation, but whom there is not enough evidence to consider a suspect and accuse of having committed the underlying offense. Saturday's shooting at the Ivy League institution occurred during final exams at the campus. The attack erupted in the engineering building, and the shooter initially managed to flee. Hundreds of police officers scoured Brown, as well as nearby neighborhoods, while poring over surveillance video in search of the shooter, who opened fire inside a classroom. Speaking to Ocean State Media, Brown economics professor Rachel Freed said that the attack occurred during a final exam review session for her class. Freed, who was not present during the attack, learned of the details from a teaching assistant who was leading the session. He said that the room had stadium seating with doors that enter at the top. He said that the shooter came in the doors, yelled something, he couldn't remember what he yelled, and started shooting. Students started to scramble to try to get away from the shooter, trying to get lower down in the stadium seating, and people got shot. I don't know if they're the only ones who got shot or not. Among those at Brown during Saturday's attack was 20-year-old Zoe Weissman, who had survived the 2018 school shooting in Parkland, Florida, that killed 17 victims. "So, my friend called me, I'm in my dorm, and she asked if I was in Barris and Holly, which is the building where the shooting occurred, and I told her no. And I'm actually from Parkland, and I survived the shooting there. And so I was like, that's where my brain immediately went, and I was like, tell me if there's a shooting, and they confirmed for me. And so, ever since then, I've just been staying in my room. I've been on the phone with my family, my friends, and just keeping updated. I think mentally, I feel like I'm 12 again. This just feels exactly like how I felt in 2018. But honestly, I'm really angry. I'm really angry that this is happening to me all over again, and I'm just in shock." Providence leaders on Sunday warned residents there would temporarily be a heavier police presence in the community, and many local businesses announced that they are closed for now, citing the shock and heartbreak caused by news of the deadly shooting. "Everybody's reeling, and we have a lot of recovery ahead of us," Brown President Christina Paxson said at the news conference. A shelter-in-place order connected to Saturday's shooting was lifted at 5:42 a.m. Sunday. However, a message to the university community warned that access to certain areas of campus will remain limited, and the message warned that people who leave certain buildings, including apartments within a police perimeter, would be unable to return. "It is important to follow instructions from law enforcement at all times," the alert said. Saturday's violence at Brown brought the number of mass shootings in the U.S. for the year to at least 389, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Saturday was the 347th day of the year. The Gun Violence Archive, a nonpartisan resource, defines mass shootings as ones in which 4 or more victims are wounded or killed. More details soon. An incredible self-own. In 1936, John Scott, son of the late Guardian owner and legendary editor C.P. Scott, did something unheard of for a media heir. He gave up his stake for the greater good. After inheriting the newspaper, Scott renounced all financial benefit, bar his salary, in The Guardian, which was worth £1 million at the time and around £62 million today, and passed ownership over to the newly formed Scott Trust. The trust would evolve to have one key mission: to secure the financial and editorial independence of The Guardian in perpetuity. That means The Guardian can't be bought. Not by private equity, not by a conglomerate, and definitely not by a billionaire looking for a political mouthpiece.
Our independence means we can say what we want, report on who we want, challenge who we want, and stand up at a time when others are sitting down. But this unique model also means we depend on readers like you from Pakistan to help fund our work. If you would rather the news you read was the result of decisions made by journalists and editors, not shareholders or ultra-wealthy tech bros, well, you know what to do.